Hello, everyone, and welcome to session 23 of Pokemon Spectrum. We are knee deep into the end game of this campaign. Depending on what happens, we might have 2 sessions left, we might have 3 sessions left, I'm not sure, but there are a lot of loose ends that are being tied, and I'm very excited to see how all of this ends. But first, we have a warm-up question. And today's warm-up question is, once again, a question for the Pokemon, because we don't really get to do much. We haven't really been asking a lot of questions from the Pokemon throughout the campaign, so that's sort of why it's Pokemon heavy near the end of this, just to catch up on that. This is a hypothetical question. And this is a question that I think you might have to think about to figure out what your honest answer would be. So we learned from the last session that this universe was not the only one of its kind, that there was at least one previous existence, one previous reality that occurred before this. And in this reality, the Pokemon were the superior beings and the humans were not. So the hypothetical question is, pretend that this campaign actually took place in that previous universe, and that this entire time the stars of the campaign were the Pokemon, and the entire time those Pokemon owned your trainers. So Fern owned Cassie, and Lux owned Chase, etc., etc., etc. And that's just the way the world worked. That's the way that your Pokemon always, and your trainers, or your humans, that's the way they always knew the world to be. Then there's this country called Johto that had it in reverse, where the humans were actually the superior creatures, and the Pokemon were underneath them, or at least, for the most part, they were underneath them, or it was flipped. And you now get to this part of the campaign where you've crossed the borders into Johto, and they see what it would be like if the humans were superior to them. So now my question is, what would your Pokemon in this hypothetical situation honestly feel about Johto in this reality? What would they honestly feel about that? Would they think it was messed up? Would they kind of find it a little interesting? Because then I'm going to flip the question around after you answer this, and I'm going to flip it around and ask, what do the humans think of this country? Because that could be completely two different things. In fact, it probably would be two different things, maybe. And to give you a little bit of background, when I was first creating this campaign in the first place, I entertained the idea of having this campaign be exactly that. I was debating having the entire story be the entire universe of Pokemon flipped upside down, where the Pokemon actually owned trainers and they actually battled with their trainers. But I decided against that just because. So that's another reason why I'm asking this question, because I kind of am curious what would have happened if I had actually gone with that story concept from the beginning instead of what I ended up with now.
Well, if things were flipped, Lux would still be with Omni, wouldn't he? Or how does that work? Because Lux is technically a human in a Pokemon body, first off.
Whatever would simplify answering that question. Okay. I know that there's complexities, so however you want to interpret it in a way that makes it easiest for you to answer the question.
Let's have the Omni stuff stick, because that's really interesting to get to play with. I could actually see Lux being the apologist of Omni, of this. This started out as a good idea, but this isn't right. And then looking around going, the way we treat the humans isn't that nice. And there's this other place, and bro, do you want to go try the other place? If we could safely sneak back and forth. Because Omni clearly can move back and forth. So he would actually be able to go over there, in theory. Yeah, I could actually see Lux doing that. Let's just go over there and try it. If we don't like it, we can come back. Or if you like it, you can stay and it'll break my heart, but I'll go home. And then Omni will probably try killing us. Be prepared. Tiffany. Okay, can I ask Roma some clarification questions first? Cool.
Sure.
If that helps you. Sure.
Okay. You, Tiffany's relationship in this verse, what's it like? Under this scenario.
In this setup, I imagine you would, I imagine you would kind of fill the same role as Tiffany, like being a kind of contest consultant / maybe supermodel.
/ supermodel.
In that case, then, well, this setup works perfectly for me. Why would I want it changed? I don't mind being pampered. This is quite nice, actually.
You like having everything done for you, or you like to be taken care of and pampered.
Well, early campaign Tiffany, where she is right now, she'd probably fight it with everything, but in a verse where this is just the norm, this is nice. I have a really cushy life. And she's probably famous on the contest circuit, so yeah, go team.
Actually, I'd love for you to expand on, so if Tiffany were to go to that universe's Johto, then
I thought that Tiffany was from that Johto. Like, no, that was just the norm.
But the pampering would happen on the pampering, if I understand her, because now I might be confused. That's why I'm asking for the clarification. So the pampering would happen everywhere else, but then the Johto of that universe would be the reverse of what we're playing now, which is the humans would be basically rebelling against the Pokemon and treating them like crap overtly. So how would Tiffany feel about that if she had to confront Johto of that reverse world?
If you exposed her to it, probably shock and the Pokemon are nice. Why are you guys doing this? My Pokemon master is awesome to me.
But it sounds like you would. But it sounds like you feel that Tiffany would be happier being everywhere else where she was being pampered and taken to all these contests instead of you having to do all the contest paperwork and like I want to be on stage. Like,
well, Tiffany of this verse or that verse
of that
because again, this verse, Tiffany. No, I don't like this at all.
Yes.
Let's move toward the equality plan.
So I think with Remy, I think it was he covered a little bit in the journal where this is a difficult thing to think about just because, as players, we're humans, so we relate more to the humans getting the right of way. But so with Remy, I think his angle would still be that something doesn't feel right, that it's, like his relationship with Noir has, like, despite how he pretends it's not a good relationship, like he's been cared for, he's been treated right, like Petra was saying. It's not like what these players are going through with their Pokemon is not how the rest of the world treats Pokemon. So we do have a little bit of a bias going in. So from the Remy perspective, he would still be thinking of it from a place of how like he wouldn't want that mistreatment going on. From the Chase perspective, I think that he would rebel against it. I think from his perspective, if he got to Johto of that reverse world, he would start he would help with the revolution, just the way that they're sort of doing today. The Pokemon are riling together to say, like, this is what we stand for, this is how we want things to be done, just so we can show the humans that, like, you can't just have your way with us, like we want rights as well, or whatever. And then they went too far, but from his perspective is sometimes you got to go too far in order for that equilibrium to then get reached. So he would probably help out with the rebellion.
That's a very honest answer. Thank you.
Well, Fern would be a very different character in this type of world because she probably wouldn't be mistreated as much. In this type of world, I imagine.
Maybe Cassie was mistreated, and maybe Cassie was the one that was, being used in Team Rocket the whole time. Maybe.
Yeah. I was thinking Fern probably be like a mafia princess type thing in that type of world, because Pokemon would be respected and stuff, and she would have been grew up with Team Rocket, and then maybe Cassie was like one of the humans like Team Rocket captured. And I'm guessing that type of scenario, Fern would have seen Cassie being mistreated and intervened. That's why she gets kicked out. In that type of scenario, why she would left Team Rocket, because like she would have made a bond with Cassie somehow and gone, I don't agree with the way that my family does things, and taken her out of that. But she would also have this sense, she would be a lot more confident in this type of scenario. And she probably, if upon reaching a Johto reversal place, she would be very deeply uncomfortable with the idea of humans being in charge. She probably wouldn't be as gung-ho about equality and stuff as other Fern would be. She would probably be resistant to the idea. She'd be like, I agree with treating them nicely, but that's not the way things are done. They've always been this way. Because she would have had awful parents. Not really parents, but awful guardians. So, the fact if she even helped Cassie out would be remarkable in that situation. As for Noir, she was the human to Remy's Pokemon. She probably would have started off with other Pokemon trainers who Noirs would, she'd probably be a bit like Remy. She would really dislike the idea of like humans under control. But as soon as she saw Johto or like started getting hints of that, she'd be appalled. She'd be like, okay, both of you are messed up. Pokemons and humans in the general is controlling each other. Like, no one should be controlling each other. Like, this is awful. She would be really resistant against it. Whether she'll like actively do something or just peace out, just go somewhere else, is unclear to me.
In this, I'm imagining alternate you as kind of a RuPaul type character.
I love it.
Like, definitely not as toddlerish, more like I am the queen. You all have to do what I say.
I like that.
You know? And so in that universe, I imagine Tiffany would be kind of Yu's assistant, like. Like, okay, girl, now you go strut, stuff like that. I think he would probably just rule that whole environment. Going to Johto and having like seeing everything flipped upside down. I think it could go one of. I think it could go one of two ways. Either you like starts to mature and really think about these kinds of issues, or he remains a diva and he just keeps on trying to resist this new reality and saying, no, this is the way everything's supposed to be. I'm the queen here. I'm supposed to be in charge, which could potentially get him into lots of trouble in that kind of situation. So I hope that's not a cop-out answer giving two possible scenarios.
No.
It's tough to think about. But for Molly, assuming that Molly and Bullet's relationship is the same way, where she's basically assisting him on whatever job he's doing, I think she would be content just going along with it, assuming he treats her the same way that she treats him. Upon going to Johto, I honestly think Molly just wouldn't know what to do with that situation. I think, assuming she's still not, well educated. I mean, I don't know how far Pokemon education goes. So, but I think in that universe, Molly just it would probably like just blow her mind for a while. Like she literally would not know what to do about that. And in the end, honestly, I think she would try to keep going along with what the status quo has always been, which is being Bullet's assistant. I don't think she would be comfortable suddenly being the master in that case.
Mm-hmm. And Bullet.
Cool. So Bullet was one of many, many young Zubat, coming from the caves. And unfortunately for him, he was always kind of an outcast even from the beginning, He wasn't as, fast or as strong as the other Zubats. He definitely wasn't as smart. And so pretty early on, there was just kind of a divide that kept growing and growing between himself and, what he would consider his family. And while he tried not to make it very apparent, like outwardly, he was deeply aware of it internally. And so it was a very depressing bit of childhood for him. But once he evolved into a Golbat, he gained a little bit more confidence and ventured away from home a bit. But he still found that in the world he was very lonely, that he didn't quite seem to fit in anywhere. And so he adopted his own little human to be his companion, named her Berry. And yeah, right, it's adorable. Yeah, and so then the two of them, they kind of just took the world together. He never advanced too far himself. He kind of was just like, well, as long as I've got my little Berry, like we're fine. And so, eventually he'd probably move back in with his, Golbat/Crobat parents, whichever they were, and just kind of live out the remainder of his days. He has this sort of course, he doesn't hate Pokemon because he is one, but he just never really could understand or get along with them as well. So he's much more of a people lover. And I don't know why he'd ever go to Johto, but if he did, or if he at least heard about it, I think that, well, he would be surprised for one. He'd find it interesting, and he would feel bad that the Pokemon or the humans felt so badly, that they chose to rise up. But he wouldn't support their actions. He definitely would like a more equal footing. He's appalled by all of the abuse that he hears about, Pokemon on human. But he definitely doesn't think that, humans should be above Pokemon or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he would try to shield Barry from all that knowledge, because like she doesn't need that,
And Cassie?
Cassie, I think, would have been subservient for the most of her life. She might be intelligent, but she was never very learned in this universe. She didn't have much of a chance to grow, nor did she ever really have the inspiration to do so, because she never had that connection with her parents, particularly her father. And so once she was picked up, whether by Team Rocket or just straight up by Fern, she knew how the world worked around them. And while maybe, at times it wasn't the best, especially with some of the things she could have gone through, that's how it was. And it was fine. Fern did treat her well, from my understanding of Ella's. I think... Did
Cass... Just quick question. In this universe, do you see Fern... friend zoning Cassie as well? the way Cassie friend zones
No,
Fern.
full on relationship.
Oh, full on. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No friend zone. So going into Johto, Cassie would similarly, she'd be surprised and interested. Like, it would make her think a little bit more, but it also wouldn't make sense to her, because from her fairly limited perspective, Pokemon are obviously bigger and stronger for the most part than any human could ever hope to be. Smarter too. And so she would wonder, like, how the humans, or how the Pokemon, I keep going back to this one, how the Pokemon could have let that happen. And while she also, wouldn't be in favor of abuse of humans, she by no means thinks that they should rise above the Pokemon. She doesn't even think that equality should necessarily be the thing. She would just want them to be treated better overall, like the relationship that she currently has with Fern.
No Kyle Sniffles?
Do you want me to answer that question for Kyle and Sniffles?
I would if the rest of the team doesn't mind.
Very well.
Thank you.
It'll be easy for me to start with Kyle. So Kyle has always, I always saw Kyle as lawful good. I think that's kind of obvious. So for him, he is very comfortable with, this is the way things have always been. It's working for the most part. People are happy for it to be this way. And by that, I mean Pokemon owning trainers. So if you were to put him in a situation in Johto where that was flipped over, he'd have a hard time with that. I think that he would not, he would also, just like Cassie, not think that it would be good for, I don't think he would, again, I don't think Kyle would even look at it in an equality sense. I think that he would believe that seeing equality between humans and Pokemon, who again are stronger, smarter, et cetera, et cetera, he doesn't think that makes any sense. And seeing some sort of actual even equality across all of the Pokemon and the people is not realistic. It's a nice sentiment. It would be a nice ideal, but he doesn't think that would be realistic. We struggle with that to this day in real life. You know, we like to say that all humans are equal, are on the same footing. In reality, we haven't quite achieved that yet. And I don't know if we will achieve that, probably not in my lifetime. As for Sniffles, I think that Sniffles would be a little bit more optimistic about the possibility of equality between Pokemon and humans, just because he's coming from a perspective of he is the superior one in the rest of the world, the norm. Therefore, he feels a little bit of responsibility, and might have extra sympathy for the humans because they've been below them. So I think he would find the concept of Johto to be fascinating in that respect. And he would take it as a nice, eye-opening experience. But yeah, like compared to Kyle, I think he's a little bit more optimistic with equality. Although I think he too believes that that would be like a nice sentiment and ideal, but realistically probably not going to happen in his lifetime. So,
can I get you to expand on that a little bit? Not that one, but the Kyle perspective. I'm curious that because I don't think we got a sense of Kyle's perception of events as they are now. So if you're lawful good, if you're associating lawful in that reverse world, and lawful good represents taking a pragmatic approach to how society should behave, and that's like that because that's the lawful thing to do. Is like it's always worked this way. So let me be subservient to the masters, the Pokemon masters, legitimate Pokemon masters, not people that stole the name. So how does Kyle see Johto now in this case if, for all intents and purposes, the flip would be that the lawful state of society is that the humans are the stolen name Pokemon masters of the Pokemon, and that the Pokemon should be subservient, and that's the lawful structure of the world. How does Kyle see Johto?
Yeah. So as I said that he would feel uncomfortable just because it's a total opposite of what he's used to. So this is the law of that specific country. He would have to recognize that and respect it. That doesn't mean he's not comfortable. That doesn't mean he's comfortable with it. So
right, but he wouldn't take his notion of law from where he's from and apply it to Johto. He would get to Johto and then say, well, no, this is how Johto works. So
no, I don't think he would,
of
because that's the way the law is here. And so, it's sort of like in real life, if you go to a different country, certain things in other countries are like legal or not legal, and you personally might not like that. When Colin and I were trying to pick out our honeymoon location, we wanted to because we wanted to do an African safari, and there were specific parts of Africa that we could not go to. We could, but because of who we are. Legally, we could get arrested if we, showed affection or things like that. We could get arrested. I may not like that to be a law. I would probably prefer that law was different, but I can't do anything about it, and therefore I have to respect that that's just the way it is in that part of the world. So if I were to be forced to go to those parts of the world, I would be very uncomfortable, really, really uncomfortable, but I wouldn't fight the system because that wouldn't be my place. So I think that's how Kyle would feel if that puts it into perspective.
Yeah, so he's not a paladin, is what you're saying. Because a paladin will take their beliefs wherever the hell they go and cause damage as lawful kids.
I think Kyle has never been the type of lawful good character who's always actively. He chooses his battles very carefully. So he has a code, and he has a code that works for him, and he tries to influence his friends to follow essences of his code, but he's not going to go out of his way, especially if it's not, because it might not necessarily be the smartest thing to do, to go out of his way to get something to conform to what he believes is the law or what he believes is supposed to be the way things are supposed to be. I don't think he's ever done that necessarily, because he certainly has blurred the lines of even the law in Kanto a bit for the greater good. And that makes him uncomfortable, but he knows it's for the greater good. So I sort of modeled his view of the world similar to Cassandra from Dragon Age Inquisition, which I'm not going to get into because you haven't played the game yet. But Cassandra surprised me because I thought she was paladin-like. But when you get to know her throughout Inquisition, you find out that it's a little more complicated than that. To her, the world is not just black and white, and everyone needs to be white, or however you want to. That doesn't come out correctly, but you know what I'm saying. That did not come. Yes, out of context, that sounds terrible, but yes. Anyway.
Cool.
Okay. So you guys are, I believe, just outside of. You're in the tunnels, I think.
Yep.
Just outside of the sewers. So. You're about to fall asleep. I don't know if you guys are doing anything before you sleep.
If no one else is doing anything, so this will be probably around the time when everyone else is either laying down or already fallen asleep. If Cassie is awake, Molly, she will hear Molly whispering over and over again. She'll hear her whispering the gods' names over and over again. Just same as she was saying to Irene, just Mew help me, Arceus help me, Palkia help me. And then just going through all the gods and then coming back and saying them again.
Cool. So I guess we could say that maybe, it's either some people are asleep or they're falling asleep currently or things like that. So they're all lying down or whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay. So she probably would have been among the group, lying down. And after hearing the little prayers for a bit, she'd let out a quiet sigh and say, "Everything all right, Moon Moon?"
Molly will jump a little bit and she'll say, "Cassie, I didn't realize you were awake. I'm sorry."
No, it's fine. What's going on?
Molly sits up in her sleeping bag. She just sits up and she says, "What if I've just left them behind to die?"
Well, I mean, unfortunately, we can't really know one way or the other. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it is possible.
I feel like I'm back. I feel like I'm back to right after I found out they were in Johto in the first place. I mean, I started to feel confident again after, after being with Alicia, after everything that happened at Team Rocket. stopping the drug ring, all of that, I started to have hope again, you know? Maybe I was just stupid. Maybe I was just too stupid for hoping.
Maybe this is me revealing a little bit more pessimism or realism, I don't know, than I would have liked, but honestly, I think that right now, if they're still alive, they're probably going to be okay. Considering what could have happened before we ever saw the kind of state they were in, before we ever saw what Joda was like, I expected them to be a lot more dead than they currently are.
I mean, I know that this is probably the safest bet for them at the moment. But now I don't know, part of me is wondering, part of me is still tempted to sneak out of here and go up to that house and drag them back with me, you know? I mean...
Well, and you could. And if you do, I'll do my best to support you, whatever you decide. But it's either you let them stay and let them hopefully be happy under their Pokemon until we can sort things out and reach some sort of conclusion with all this mess. Or you can sneak them out, send them back here, make them wander a few days through the tunnel, emerge in a place that they no longer recognize, and hope that nothing bad happens on the other side.
Either way, it's just a lot of unknowns, you know?
And either way, we can't be around to really see what happens. We can't be around to help right now.
Well, to be fair, you're not exactly having the best time either with Cynthia and all of that mess.
Yeah, no, life's kind of bullshit, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It really is. And Molly rubs her head a little bit and she says, "My heart hurts a lot, but I'm not broken yet."
I think that's a good thing. I think right now we're all kind of needing you to stay up for us.
Why do you all need me to stay up? I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if I drag everyone down.
At that, Cassie scoffs a little bit. A little bit of a smirk crossing her face, the spider eyes closing. She'll say, "Well, I don't know if you've realized this or not, but you're kind of the center of this group."
You know, Ian mentioned once that I'm the heart of this group. And I guess I still don't really understand, and just hearing you saying that again, I'm just wondering why. I don't know, why is that, Cassie?
I mean, I think a big part of it is just the fact that, you trust everyone here. And I think everyone trusts you. Everyone wants the best for you, and they know that you want the best for them. Doesn't mean you always have to make the right decisions, but just the fact that everyone is comfortable enough with that idea, I think that's all they really need.
I know not everyone trusts Ian. It's our relationship is complicated, but well, he saved my life. I mean, if things had turned out differently, I could have been an Omni fighting against you guys.
Mm.
I do trust everyone in this group, and Madame Vu, when I met her, she told me I would have to depend on everyone else use their strengths to balance out my weaknesses, and that's why I have to hope that it's not over yet with the race,
Well, if you don't want it to be over with the Rays, we just have to reach conclusions in all this, like I said. Once we handle things here, then we can start focusing on those things, right?
Yeah.
So, if you want to reach a faster conclusion, just step up a little. I think a lot of us would listen to you more.
Well, I guess I could try. I'm trying to stay focused. I mean, I have personal reason now why all of this has to end peacefully. And just to clear the air a little bit, I know I mentioned this before, but I don't hate you for what happened with Sniffles and Dylan and all of that. I mean, if I wanted to judge you for your past actions, then it would mean I'd have to be okay with you judging me for mine.
And I really do appreciate that. I'm sorry we weren't able to, talk more back then. Just the whole dragon circling over us and all that. Felt appropriate to get a move on.
I'm glad to have you. I'm glad to have you in the team. Glad to have everyone here.
Yeah. Might not always be the best of teams at times, but I think right now we really do have to rely on each other. Yeah.
Well, like I said before Team Rocket, you and I started this whole journey together, and we're not done yet.
And hopefully even after Johto, you and I will be shooting the breeze or whatever. And actually, and she'll sit up a bit and scoot back and turn around to reach for her backpack. If you don't mind, I actually kind of neglected to give these to you earlier, but I got you some things if you'd care.
Alicia and I are kind of an item.
Oh, what a coincidence! I have some items here for you too. And she'll bring her backpack around and shuffle through it a bit, and so she'll pull out a pair of dark vision goggles. She'll hold those up to her. Say, it's not the darkest in here necessarily, but you can try them on, at least make sure they fit.
Yeah. So Molly tries them on. I'm just gonna give you a visual. There we go.
Perfect.
Says,
You look-
wow, these work really great.
Yes, you look very intimidating. So I made some modifications to them. Don't try them out here, because that probably wouldn't end well for the rest of us, but I'll let you know a bit later how they might work.
All right, well, call me intrigued.
All right, intrigued. One more item for you. And after a bit more shuffling, she'll pull out a sleek-looking black glove. Has a kind of like more, I don't know, things fabric-y, feel to the front, but on the back it's more like a hard matte sort of finish with some ribs down like along the knuckles and stuff. So she'll hand that to Molly and say, "Here, try this on."
Well, she admires it for a second. She looks at the back of it. She pulls off one of her gloves and she puts it on.
All right, now do this because it's awesome as hell. And she'll put her hand on her wrist and then just like slide her hand up like that.
She does that.
And as she does that, the matte ribs, they kind of all like push forward together, and on the tips of her fingers they form claws at the ends.
And Molly is very impressed, and she says, "Okay, that's pretty kick-ass."
Right? Didn't I tell you?
She's Lady Deathstrike.
All right. Yeah, so
So,
she...
just if you ever get into a situation, there's an option at least. It's a little more subtle than a sword.
Molly is smiling and nodding, and she says, "Well, I appreciate this a lot. I really do. Let's hope they both come in handy."
I'm hoping we'll never need to use them, but should we? Yes. Let's hope you get out there and be badass.
All right, so could you help me with these? I don't know if I prefer not to claw my face in my sleeve or something.
Oh yeah, hold on. She'll reach over and help and show her how to like disengage it all and everything. And as she's doing so, her smile will fade just slightly as she's watching the elves, and she'll say, "One more thing, Molly. As much as it's cool to, have faith and all that, I'm not gonna bash anything like that. Just realize that the gods asked us for help with all of this. I think that they'll step in when it's their time, but I think we have to rely on ourselves a lot more. But on the bright side of that, they wouldn't have asked us for no reason."
Well, I'll keep that in mind too. I'm new to this whole faith thing, and after getting us kicked out of the dream world, I've been trying to get back in their good graces. I hope.
And that's fair. That's fair. Just don't overcompensate, is what I'm saying. Put more of your faith in the group, I suppose, because we are here right now, and we're all ready to help.
I'll keep that in mind. And sorry again if I woke you up or whatever.
That's fine. Always fall asleep again, no problem. You gonna be okay?
I'll be all right. Like I said, we're not done yet. I'm not done yet. And if you say I'm the center of the group, then I'll try to hold us all together.
All right. I'll count on that then.
Start with Lux, Fern, you? If
That's
they're up
fine.
or down? Okay, you three. You remember the computer, right?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, thing is, you two had the glitches talked down twice. Remy, he's well-intentioned, but he screwed it up. And if we're gonna go talk to this president guy, I kind of would prefer you two in point, leading it if it's talks.
That didn't go well last time we did the talks.
It did, just Remy got in the way of it.
You
You two
didn't
are
get
better
any
than you
way.
think.
Well, I guess it could have worked. So,
It could have?
Yeah, it could have. That's what you two need to understand. You're awesome. You are good at this. Come on.
Tiffany likes to say that all the time. She says, "I am awesome." Not me being awesome. I'm talking. Tiffany says it to herself. She says, "I am awesome." She says, I'm the best damn thing." So, I guess I've been trying to say that about myself too.
Good. You should. And if Remy gets too out of line, make him Radiant Rainbow Remy. Just so you know.
Oh, I really want to. At some point.
I do too.
I don't think he liked that very much at all.
Yeah, but keep him quiet for a few minutes, so. And that'll give you time to talk.
Not
Strategy.
too long, because I don't think he can breathe in there.
Well, he doesn't have to stay in. Just, long enough so you can get your point across. Okay?
What's our point? What angle are we going with? I'm not really
That's
sure
a
what.
good point. Well, I'm sure after the humans do their dream thing, they'll tell us.
Oh. Okay, well, that seems easier than deciding that for ourselves. We're going to look at that.
Why is my brother going over to Noir? I don't like that. Last time it did not go well. I should go, just go make sure he's playing nice. Also, Vern, you are right about the soul thing. Even just having it misplaced for a while, it sucks and it hurts.
I was right about something?
You're right about a lot of things. You told me once I'd be sad if I lost my soul.
I did? Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
You're amazing. Thank you. Yeah, I need to go check on my human.
You're amazing. Like,
Aw.
like no, it's pretty cool.
Knuckles back, and then, okay, game face on. Goes over to his brother.
So I was like, this is like for like everyone's getting to like this beds and stuff, and I was kind of like laying there going, okay, do I have to pretend I'm going to sleep or half going to sleep today? Just thinking to herself, and then she kind of like sends off a message to Chase and asks, "Are you sleeping today?" Because it would be convenient to know.
Yes, it's my third day.
Thank you. By the way, just FYI, every time you have not been sleeping, I've been having nightmares. So,
Nightmares.
yes.
Chase will get up.
I was trying to be subtle.
Is everyone out? Well, we're all split up. We're not all cozy together in one little clump. So, Chase will go ahead.
Is Chase fully dressed?
Is he?
I wasn't sure if Chase is the type of person who sleeps in the nude. I don't know, like because
He probably doesn't have a
his
blanket,
track
so he
record,
probably needs something.
okay.
to keep
Given his
himself warm.
track record, I wouldn't be
He doesn't
shocked.
actually. He doesn't need anything to keep himself warm. So I could theoretically.
Well,
That's
he's been sleeping on the
confused.
streets, so
I'm just
like,
giving. I'm just giving Brushman like more excuses to make more drawings of Chase in various stages of undress. But anyway, go ahead.
He's made a toga of newspapers.
Okay, all right.
No. Okay, so he'll get up and he'll move to the side of the cave Noir is on, and he will sit in front of her.
oh, I probably hears this after a bit and goes, sits up.
Nightmares?
Yeah.
Is this something you don't want everyone else to hear about?
I wasn't exactly hiding it. It was something that really comes up in everyday conversation. I have mentioned I have nightmares.
I didn't know you had them every night.
Well, it dimmed down for a while
Because of the dream world?
before the explosion. And the dream world helped, of course, but
You know, I've only been sleeping every 3 days, and 21 days have passed.
I was quite aware. I did send you a text. Oh wait, no, I didn't send text. That was we were first night a while back, and you didn't go to sleep. We were trying to figure out why we didn't go to the dream world, and yeah, it was clear you. But
It was.
I wasn't about to be the hypocrite and force someone to go to sleep when they didn't want to go to sleep.
I think sometimes you got to look after yourself before you look out for others. I think you're in every right to confront me and let me know if something was affecting you.
Do you ever feel like sometimes it doesn't matter if you're awake or asleep?
I feel like that every day.
Yeah. Sometimes the days seem just as bad as nightmares. Both repeat each other. Actually
Do you
had a
think that-
nightmare.
Do you think the nightmares are following you into the real world, though? Or do you think you're in more control when you're
Yes.
awake?
Actually
And
had
how-
a dream.
Go ahead.
Actually had a dream. It was I can't. I think it was after Castelia City. I saw. The dream started off. I thought I was awake, about to go to sleep, not going to sleep, but I saw Reyes in the mirror. He said, "I found you." His eyes glinting red. Then everything twisted and turned, and it's like I was getting dragged into the underworld. All the people I failed to save. And then it happened. Just not in the way I expected. Giratina found me and said those words. I didn't actually want to run because it was Giratina. So next time I saw Giratina, I'll hand myself over. But I had to say those words and I couldn't be there anymore. And yeah.
I don't think the group would let you give yourself up to Giratina. That nightmare isn't only yours.
I know.
And you're not the same person you were before you came to this world.
I guess. I just think that how are we going to defeat Asia's father? We don't have that ability. A god, and even if... How do we do it without Labelle dying? You ever had a parent die? Like, it's awful. Especially if you could have done something to stop it. Yet, I'm just tired and I'm like, gosh.
Oh, look, I can't say that I understand what it's like for any of you and what you've had to deal with regarding your parents. Each one of you. You never got to meet mine. For all intents and purposes, I'm 15 years old. So all I know is how to depend on myself. And sometimes depending on yourself is what you need to focus on. I would imagine that if I had parents, my parents would do whatever they had to do to protect their child. And I think sometimes the child needs to understand that that's the right of the parent. You're maybe supposed to just take a step back and realize they're doing it for you. That sacrifice isn't meaningless. That sacrifice is what being a parent is all about.
I know.
And Fabian right now, he's your brother, but you're more or less his mother.
Yeah, that's been the way things have been since I was over 10 years, nearly. Well,
I know it'd be easy for you to just say you'd sacrifice yourself for Fabian. You would do everything for Fabian. Just be careful, because when you think like that, you might actually become the thing you hate. Make sure that your sacrifices don't compromise the person you've become since starting your life over. You were a weapon before for someone else. You were guided by someone else's demands. You became blind to the world around you as you fulfilled objectives. Don't let Fabian turn into that. Don't become blind to the world around you to protect Fabian. Fabian knows why he's here. He knows why he shouldn't be here. He's not blind to the world that you've created for him. I think you need to include him more in whatever plans you have regarding Cam, regarding Reyes, regarding Garatina. Focus on who you want to be. You're not controlled by anybody or by anything.
You'd think the gods would be happy if I was looking after myself and just Fabian. I would have done something. I would have used Ho-Ho's blessing and just give that to Garatina, take Fabian and leave this world.
Can't run forever.
Yeah. No, I can't run forever, but I wouldn't be able to live with the choice either. I abandoned my old world because it was screwed up. I wouldn't have survived there, but I'm not too sure about this world either. Do you think there's any chance for this world?
I don't think that far ahead.
You're lucky.
I think you worry too much about your past becoming your future. I think you just need to focus on now. The gods are giving you some opportunities, but they're not controlling any of us. We all have a choice to be here or not be here. We're all going to get to the end together. And then you get to write your own story.
Do you happen to know any obscure stories about ways to appease gods of death? Since you got some of your memories back, I'm guessing.
I got some of them, but doesn't make me whole. And Chase looks over at, or looks down at Lux. I think I'm only whole when I have Lux around me, and Lux is only whole when he's got me around him. So I think we're all still learning how to be who we are.
Yeah.
It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to feel helpless. That's why you end up creating a support group around you. No one needs to stand alone.
How can you go from this into attacking someone? Why? How can you just do that? You confuse me sometimes. Sometimes you seem good. Other times you seem frightening. How can you just switch like that?
Depends who I'm protecting. I've never attacked anyone if I had to defend myself. I only started fighting things when I met all of you.
I don't think you really needed to attack me.
How was your nightmare coming back? I wanted to make sure you were ready to confront the nightmare and just be prepared if it were to happen again. And to stand up to your nightmares. You need to know that when you fight back, you're not fighting back because someone's controlling you. You're fighting back because you're trying to control yourself. You know why I haven't slept? I don't sleep for every 3 days.
Why?
For the last 21 days. Because I was trying to control myself.
extreme way of doing that. That's not very healthy at all. I can tell.
It's not.
It wasn't very healthy for me to continue the way I was caught. I was caught in a pattern of sleep, hear something about the gods and what they wanted, wake up, get caught up in some plot that was wrapping around us where we felt like we had no control of it. And the one thing I could control was whether or not I fell asleep. Gave me some time to think about just slowing down, understanding that choices have consequences and that every choice matters. And that everything is my choice. Sleep doesn't control me. The gods needing me in the dream world don't control me. What the gods want from me does not control me. I choose when to let the gods in. I choose when to be rewarded by them. And I choose to be their hand.
Did you choose to work for the gods, or were you chosen?
Destiny chose me. Destiny chose all of us.
Destiny. Tricky thing. I'm not sure if I quite agree with it.
See, destiny is perspective. Did the gods choose me, or did I choose the gods? Did we all choose the gods? Like, what came first?
Pokemon egg. Well, apparently neither. But yeah, no, universe came first, apparently.
And apparently we can put those gods in balls. So I would say that we're in control, not the gods. There's some irony in that. I understand that now, but I've had 14 years of not understanding it any other way.
Yeah. Unfortunately, even if we all have choices, there's still some choices where there's no good answer. No answer you can live with.
Only if you go in not preparing yourself for those circumstances. Come to terms with the fact that you might lose people and that you've done everything you can to try not to. Don't live with the regret of failing. Live with the hope that you tried and that you'll try again. Failure is never the end.
I hope it's not. Well, I guess I'll see you in the dream world at some point.
See you in the dream world.
Yeah, I'm assuming Chase will go back to his sleeping
Just in the
bag.
corner. Yeah.
Aw.
Oh, he won't even be in a sleeping bag. He don't need that.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm assuming he's at least laying
just
on
for-
something, because the bare ground would be really uncomfortable.
Maybe.
I know it's
Just some filth piles. Just a little
I just
nest.
brought newspapers. We'll be fine. Just don't set anything on.
I will say that everyone's like remarkably warm in the vicinity, so they're in a tunnel, but no one actually feels chilled at all as long as Chase is around them.
Nice.
Okay. Actually, this does bring up a question about the camp. Is it lanterns? Is it a fire? Is there lighting built into the wall? What are we talking? More just a general setting of the scene.
There's no lighting built into the wall.
Okay, so lanterns.
Lanterns, flashlights, maybe.
Okay. That was surprisingly empathetic, bro.
Been working on it.
Tiffany'd be proud.
Tiffany will
Sure.
never know.
I could tell her. Plus, I'm pretty sure she has ears. It's not that big of a space. Then again, she seems fascinated by that ball thing.
She's got her own problems right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's not talk about her. She has Kyle. She'll be fine. We can talk now.
We can, and we do have stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
The last 48 hours have been revealing
Yeah.
in more ways than me undressing myself.
Oh, that's just fun. I don't know why the humans get so freaked out by it. It's not like you're me.
Although
you could be.
because
Speaking of, you could be me, or
Mhm.
you could have this shell. Do you even want this shell? Do you prefer being human?
I've spent the last 14 years searching for the truth. And I've discovered that the truth is that I am not who I am. You are who I am. It's the ultimate answer to my ultimate journey. Is to be true, is to be real again. To be true, my true self. Not entirely sure how to achieve that final goal, because I'm not going to take anything from you.
I wouldn't hold this back if you wanted this body. I'd caution against it, because, yeah, I know what it means to live in this skin.
Do you remember what it meant to live in this one?
Not really. I don't have any of the milestones I should have had as a human. I have vague memories of being a child, and then cages. And then this.
I've sort of done some work on this body for the last 14 years. Would you even want to go back into this?
It's not about what I want at the end of the day.
Well, I think it is. I think you have every right to. You have every right to any of the choices involving either of us. I don't think we exist as me making the choices. I mean, if it were that way, then maybe we should move to Johto, where the Pokemon make all the decisions and don't get reprimanded for it. Because then I'd be a god.
That or else they think you're a crazy person. Because, people
Gods are
don't really
crazy.
think you're a crazy person sometimes.
But gods are crazy. It all makes sense.
Finally! I'm
So
not
what
sure
would
if
you-
I'm not sure. I don't know what it means to be human fully. I know what this life has been in this body, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone, not less someone I care about. And if it's something you want to be whole, we don't even know if switching back would be permanent. We could just go on switching back and forth forever.
But if we could make it permanent, wouldn't you want to be free of that body and just let me take the burden off of you? You'd never have to be worried about pretending to be someone else. You could
I'm
come-
always me. Doesn't matter what skin I'm in, I am always me.
And I've always pretended to be someone else. It wouldn't bother me to wear a Pokemon costume. It wouldn't bother me to wear a Pikachu costume, or a Duskull, or a Giratina one.
Oh, that would be adorable. We need to get Benoit to make this. Think she would.
She'd do anything if you asked.
True, and I can ask now. I am off topic. Because there's other stuff we need to talk about, because you try to understand what I'm saying, but you don't always. the thing at the contest,
Mm-hmm.
I crossed a line, and it scared me. I was used as a weapon for a while by the trainer that left me for dead. And once I got free of him and started being with you, and I swore I would not do that again. And then we were in the contest center, and Remy went down, and Noir went down, and I could end it. I could have ended it so quickly. And it's such a cheat thing to do. So I derobe and I scream, but no one heard me. So no one saw me, and they, fine, but I hated that I did that.